Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Makerspace. Please make sure you are subscribed and you are liking this video. That is awesome. So we have a very special guest on the Makerspace. We're going to learn a little bit more about Meet the Maker, and we're going to be talking to Wade from Wade Knife and Tool. So without further ado, I hope everybody's having a good evening. Let me say hello to everybody real quick. Marco, channel member, hello. Sean Batch, channel member, hello. Jim Miller, moderator and channel member. What's up, Jim? Alex Kerber, hello, hello. Mad Yoko, what's going on, channel member? Thank you very much. Douglas Wagner, hello, hello. Awesome. So let's go ahead and welcome Wade from Wade Knife and Tool. What's going on, man?
Hey, thanks for having me on, man.
Hey, man. Thank you so much for agreeing to hang out with me for this. It'll be a cool conversation, man. So we're going to let some more people come in. I want to say hi to people as they're coming in. And Jim is saying hi.
What's up, Jim? Marco?
So Jim Miller's in here, Marco. But yeah, really cool having you on. I knew that you were a maker, but I am ignorant to the fact of everybody else that's going on in the community. I can't keep up with myself, let alone everybody else that's going on. So when Donnie said that you're doing some cool stuff, and I was like looking you up, and I was like, oh, well, I'm stupid that I should have known that you were doing that kind of stuff. It's like hard to follow what everybody is doing.
Right, yeah. And then there's tons of custom makers out there too. So like
yeah, there's that.
Donnie's brought up people to me that I'm like, I've never even heard of that person. And then like I'll mention someone to him and he's like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah. It happens every time I have like Donnie or another maker. They're like, oh, do you know this person? And I'm like, no, I have no idea. And I write their name down and I have like a little list and I try to look them up and see what they're all about. And, you know, it's just, it opens your mind up to a lot of things. I'm friends with like this old school guy who's been making knives like since like the 60s. And he's big on history. And he was like, have you heard of Wootz steel? And I'm like, yeah, I've heard of Wootz steel.
Yeah.
And he actually had a chunk of Wootz, not Damascus, but Mokame.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, and it was like this big, and he was asking like a couple $100 for it was like quarter-inch thick. But
hey,
you're talking Wootz Mokame is awesome stuff. Robert Feely, what's going on? What's going on? Baptism, hello, hello. Trouble Bunny, channel member, what is going on, Trouble Bunny? I did message you, Trouble Bunny. I sent you some cool pictures of a certain project, so make sure you check out your Instagram. But awesome. So, Wade, I kind of always start off when I'm talking to a maker and try to see what got them into this crazy thing of, especially with you being a knife maker. And do you make other things? Do you make pry bars and that kind of stuff as well?
Yeah. So I've got the Journeyman pry bar. I'm working on B2s right now. So I haven't done any of the B1s in a real long time. But yeah, I'll do some pocket pries and then some like fidgets, like worry stones and stuff like that.
Okay.
It gives me some use for my scraps and stuff like that.
Yeah, I started doing that. I just made like one or two little worry stones out of some Kieranite I had laying around. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I could use it as okay. So you probably have your scrap pile and I have my scrap pile, and it's like, oh, I could keep this for an inlay or multiple piece construction handle or something. And then I look at it and I'm like, I'm never going to use that. Why am I going to use that? And Kieranite makes a great. That Kieranite makes a really nice worry stone. Somebody sent me, Sean Sean Bat sent me in the chat. He sent me a picture of he made one matching his handles on a knife that I made him. So that was pretty cool.
That's
So
awesome.
going back to my question, what got you started in making knives?
Firstly, collecting. So during COVID, I ended up working from home and was working on the computer a lot. I was in a high enough position where I basically wasn't working. I was just kind of babysitting. And so when I should have been working, I was watching YouTube videos and came across Blade HQ had a video where they toured Chris Reeves' factory. I think it was called like Meet the Maker or Behind the Process or something like that.
Okay.
And they went through and they're like, this knife cost $600. And at the time, like I was really into guns, carried a pocket knife, but like a little cheap buck or whatever here and there, but more so into like guns and that type of stuff. And I was like, how does this knife cost as much as one of my guns does? And so like I started watching this video and like learning like what lapping is and like all the processes and the tolerances, and I'm like, wow, that's really cool. And so I started looking into getting my first like EDC knife, which I started with like a couple like budget ones, like some like nicer CRKTs, or I had some CJRBs in the beginning. And then the first like expensive knife was my bug out. I bought one of the blue bug outs back when they were 135. Now they're 180. So I don't think I'll ever buy another bug out, but
No.
back then that was a lot for me, and it got me hooked from there. I just started buying more and more. And then as one does, their taste gets expensive, and I was like, well, maybe I could learn how to build knives, because I was sitting at home watching all these YouTubers, like Simple Little Life. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, he was a huge inspiration for me when I was starting.
Yeah.
Huge.
I used to watch his videos all the time, sitting there working from home. I would just watch his videos. And then I think it's Three Rivers Experience or something like that. The Rivers Experience. Back then he was doing material reduction, and so I learned a lot from him. Now he's more so into forging.
Okay.
But I was watching these guys build knives. I was like, that looks fun. Like, I think I just want to like try building a knife. So I went and like started buying a couple tools here and there, like 1x30 and just like the simple stuff. Like I wasn't gonna go like all out. I just wanted to try my hand at it, and made a couple. And I was like, I'm into collecting knives. Instead of just like buying the knives I want, I was like, I'll just make stuff that I want. And so that's where I got real hooked. It's like I'd see something and it inspired me. I'd like, oh, I like that, but I wish it had these different changes to it. And then so I'd start designing more and more and more, and then building more. And then I kind of got pushed into selling them, as far as like people just wanted them. I'd like show up here and there, and they'd be like, oh, what are you carrying? I was like, oh, I made this. They'd be like, oh, you make knives? Can you make me one? And then it just kind of started that way.
Yeah.
And
it's
then
funny
last year we ended up at Blade Show, so it's
that's
pretty
crazy. And so you actually, I saw you had a booth at Blade Show, which is really cool, man. That's awesome for you. I am terrified to put a table up for some whatever reason. It's terrifying for me to think about making so many knives to put on a table for some reason.
Well, what's crazy is like I went there just like with no expectations, just wanted to have fun. And like I knew of a couple people that were gonna be there and were like, hey, I'll stop by. And I was like, okay, cool. And then like the turnout just was insane. Like people that like I hadn't met, but they knew who I was, and like, oh, I've been following you since the beginning, back when you had hardware on your Seikos. And I'm like, that was like first 6 months. Like, I haven't done hardware in a long time. Like, you remember me using hardware? That's crazy.
That's awesome.
And so, and you get to just talk to people and show people and like tell them like, I designed this for this reason. And that's what I thought was like the coolest thing about it, is because like on Instagram, like you show it and like people are like, oh yeah, it's a cool design, I like that, or I like that blade shape. But I like to be able to also tell people the reason behind those decisions that I made, because I do daily carry my knives. I work construction, is my full-time job, so they get a lot of beat, wear and tear, and so I design a lot of them that way to be just kind of beat. And I like to see people use my stuff, and I want to see them beat up.
Yeah, that, I mean, it's funny how you go from collecting to being, once you turn into making and you have the experience of making your own, then buying
It's
someone
different.
else's knife becomes a very strange thing. And
Yeah.
then not carrying one of your knives becomes a very strange thing too, right?
That actually just happened to me. So we had a 4th of July parade on Saturday, or on the actual 4th, so Friday. And while we're there, we live in a small town, so they throw out candy and popsicles and stuff during the parade, and they threw out a popsicle to our little one. And I was wearing my hat. I always wear it backwards normally, but I can't with my headphones. I was wearing it backwards, and I pulled out my knife and cut open the popsicle, and the guy standing behind me, he goes, "Oh, I'm glad you have a knife, because wearing a knife hat like that," he goes, "I would have been very disappointed if you didn't have a knife on you." And I was just like, I definitely have a knife on me, and it's one of my own. Like, this is my company. And so I talked to the guy for a minute. But like, it happens all the time too. It's like, "Oh, you're a knife maker? Do you have one of yours on you?" And if like, because I have a tactical pterodactyl fixed blade that I'll carry every once in a while, and I
Which
feel
are
like every
great.
time I
I
carry
love
it,
them.
yeah, I love it. It was one of my grails. He was one of the makers that I started following very early into like collecting, and like his design language very follows a lot of my own. Like, I definitely got a lot of inspiration from him. I love the rough wash finish. That's why a lot of mine are super dark, tumbled. I love that look, and I really discovered that from him.
What do you have of his?
I have the is it the Mini Raptor? It's the Warncliffe one.
Yeah, the Raptor.
Yeah, I think it's the Raptor.
He just released a bunch of them too on his website, and I was that close to picking one up. But I've had a couple of them here in the channel, which that's people send me stuff, and I get to check out other people's knives all the time. But someone sent me like 2 or 3 of his knives, and I've loved all of them. But that Raptor with the Warncliffe blade shape, he just released, I guess last week he released a couple of them, and I couldn't pull the trigger on it. I should have, but I couldn't.
They're amazing. I've just never had the opportunity to get one on a drop. And then my buddy Phil from the Ruthless Project, if you know him, he did an order with me, and he was also selling a couple knives. And I was like, "Hey," I was like, "that pterodactyl that you have," I'm like, "I'll take that as partial payment." And he's like, "Done deal." And so we made a deal, and that's how I actually ended up with that. And I was like, "I'm totally fine with doing that, because I get something from him finally." And I love it. I carried it for like 3 weeks straight after that.
Of course.
I felt guilty. I was like, I don't have one of my knives on me, but I was like, this thing is sweet.
I get that. I have that, totally have that feeling when I'm carrying, like when somebody lets me borrow something like that, I have to get some belt time on it. And I don't know. But yeah, he had I don't remember the handle material, probably black G10 and crew air. And I was like, oh, that's so tempting.
Yeah.
And someone just sent, actually, KC Knives
Ooh,
Fast sent me this, the Knife Lander 4 fixie with the sheep's
I
foot.
want to try one of those. Yeah.
And it's such a cool little blade. Of course, they dropped the ball on the sheath. It's the pancake, like a big old pancake
Oh,
sheath
yeah.
with this loop on, with that on it, belt loop on it.
Yeah.
And that's better than the Tech Lock, I think, but you still, I don't know.
The
It's
issue with
such a,
that type of clip for me is the movement side to side. If you don't have a thick enough belt, it moving back
yeah,
and forth will drive me crazy.
yeah, it does. But it's a cool, but I like will carry this, and then it's like, well, I don't have one of mine on me. I'm cheating on myself.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
because once that's like you said, when somebody finds out, oh, you make knives, can I
Yeah.
see one, or do you have one? And when you don't have one, it's like, well, I have somebody else's knife with me today. I don't have one of mine. Then you got to show
Right.
pictures.
Yeah. Then you got to pull up Instagram. You're like, I promise I make knives.
Yeah, it's funny
But
because simple. You're bringing up names of people like Simple Little Life was a huge inspiration for me learning, because when I found out about stock removal knife making, I was like, okay, wait a minute. Well, that's totally different. So did you
yeah.
start with just like a bandsaw and a 1x30?
Yeah, actually, so yeah, 1x30 and an angle grinder.
Okay,
Like,
so you were just cutting everything out rough on an
yeah,
angle grinder.
yeah. I didn't get the bandsaw till probably last year when I started like going real hard with everything, like pushing everything, upgrading tools and stuff.
Yeah,
It's funny that you kind of brought up NAFs because Ben Peterson he's another Utah guy here,
yeah,
and a couple years ago I went to Blade Show as a spectator, and he was the first guy I ran into when I was there, and ended up showing him my Sago and my prototype of my very first manifold. And he's actually the one that gave me the confidence and advice that we can just go get my knife in everybody's hands. And I ended up having great conversations with different companies. I ended up meeting Sam with Boss Steed. He ended up telling the Crispy Donut guys about me. I did some exclusives with them for a little while. So like I definitely thank Ben for a lot because just what he said to me. I went in there, I was like, I don't even know how to bring this about. I was like, I brought everything I've ever made just to like in case I can show it off because I didn't know what to expect. I had never been to a blade show either, but I was like, I kind of
yeah,
want to buy a couple things, and if I can show off a couple things, that would be cool too. And then I ended up meeting the guys over at Big Idea Designs. We hung out for like an hour, hour and a half, to the point where last year when I showed up with my table, they all recognized me and came and swung by for a little bit. So it it snowballs quick, and it's a very small community.
yeah,
Like
absolutely.
it's big, but it's small.
Jim says he has your CDC manifold.
Mhm. Yeah, Jim has one of the very first
That's
ones.
awesome. Thanks, Jim. Urban
Oh,
Woodsman
what's up, Donnie?
said, hold on, I'm getting caught up. The Ulti-Clip released their new Scout Carry wire clip that's super minimal and shockingly works really well. Well, that's cool.
I'll have to try
Every
that.
time you
That
pull
would
the
be cool.
lander in and out of the pancake sheath, you get a bunch of Kydex. Huh. It might just need to get cleaned out if you're pulling out Kydex.
Yeah, it
Donnie
doesn't sound
Blood,
like it
what's
was
up?
cleared out.
Yeah.
Donnie.
I have a makeup brush that I stick in there and I can pull stuff out all the time, but I haven't seen any. I haven't had any on this one, my friend.
I use an
I
air
haven't had any on
compressor.
this one. Hmm?
I use an air compressor and blow them all out.
Yeah, you can use the air compressor. I have found these little makeup brushes,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Like
and
a mascara brush or
yeah,
whatever.
you can buy them in bulk on Amazon pretty cheap, and they fit perfectly inside of the sheath, and you can reach in there and
That's smart.
try to brush all this stuff out. So I do that with the compressor, vacuum, all those things to try to get everything out of it. But I haven't found that on this one, my friend. I've been pulling it in and out of the sheath. I haven't had any Kydex pieces on there. But so what was the first knife that you did? Was it something that you just were playing around with, an idea, or you just went for it?
Yeah, so it's just a random, probably like started off as a drop point, ended up being a leaf shape by the end of it. I didn't know what I was doing, definitely on that first one. It's sitting in the drawer in my bench. Like, I definitely still have it, but it's not one I show off. Most of the other earlier ones I do have in my thing, but the first one that I actually was like, okay, I'm going to start showing people was my Sego. So this is
everything's backwards.
Yeah, it's a Sego prototype. So mine doesn't even have a swedge up top. It doesn't have any jimping or anything. I never get around to making myself a finalized version. But
and what is it? What's it called again?
This is the Sego.
Sego.
It's named after the Sego lily, which is our state flower here in Utah.
Okay. That looks awesome. Yeah, good stuff.
A lot of my knives are based off of like Utah names or have some sort of like personal connection. So like the Falcon is one of my newer ones, and I've been asked for a full size Sego forever, and instead of doing that, I kind of just did one that was similar, and that's where the Falcon came from. And then our mascot in high school, we were the Falcons, so that's where the name of that one came from.
Yeah, that's cool. That goes with your nice darkened edge. What steel do you primarily work with?
Yeah. 1095 right now.
Okay.
And that's because I'm forge heat treating still. I don't have an oven yet.
Yeah.
But this one has jimping here and up here.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so I usually do a forward jimping.
Hand jimping, or are you using like a checkering file?
Yep, checkering file. If it'll focus a little bit, you can kind of see it on the thumb ramp. I can see it. On the spine, it's a little harder to see. Oh, it wants to focus on my face.
Yeah. I mean, 1095 is the go-to, and it's easier to heat treat. You can still get a good heat treat on it. Especially when you're using the forge.
Yeah, and the recipe I follow keeps it on the harder side, so you don't have to sharpen it as much.
Yeah.
My Sego is actually my deer knife, so when I go hunting, I end up skinning my deer with this knife, and I haven't had to touch it up or anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tried and true. 1095 is a tried and true steel they used forever. I mean, I started with I started when I was seriously getting into doing my own heat treating and everything. I was 1095, and I was using the forge and oil quenching and tempering and doing everything. My first knife, because I'm just crazy like that, was 440C. A 3/16 stock, and then I sent it out for heat treating. But
I started off with Home Depot steel.
Well, yeah,
the very beginning ones where I was just walking into Home Depot because I was like, I don't really want to spend money on like an actual steel if I don't know what it's going to end up looking like or being like. And back then the steel from Home Depot wasn't too bad. I think I was getting like 3 feet of steel, 3 feet by 2 inches for like $5 or $10. So like it was super cheap. Now it's expensive there. Like
the weldable steel, just the bars of the weldable steel.
Just the bar stock that they have there. Yeah. Like the 2 inch by.
But anybody who's getting started when you're just to get used to grinding, that's probably the best way to go.
Yeah.
As
And
long as you understand it can't be heat treated and it's not going to really be a knife,
yeah,
but you can at least practice doing the bevels and getting kind of used to your equipment.
right.
Baptism, yeah, that's weird. This screw should be pretty tight up here, and that won't. It won't. This doesn't rattle at all. But if you tighten that screw up, it should tighten it down pretty good. Sorry, I just see the conversation going
Oh
about
no, you're good.
his Kydex being loose. That's wood. But yeah, I mean, anybody who wants to get started, that would be obviously a recommendation. Instead of going and spending a bunch of money on some steel, go get a small bar of that. You could do pretty good with just 8-inch thick,
Yeah,
1/8 inch by 1.5 inches, 2 inches, and you can cut it out and shape it
you can get a
and
lot of
do the
knives out of
bevels
it
and
too.
everything. And you're doing everything, but you can basically do everything but heat treat it.
Yeah,
And just to get the practice in, that would be good.
and more people have done that and started that way than you would think. Tor Knives, he started making knives after he got out of the military, and he started with Home Depot steel. He made like a couple knives, and his friends were like, "Can you make me some?" And then that's how he started. Now look where he's at. Like he's
Yeah.
like well
I mean,
known, makes some really cool like self-defense knives, tactical knives, and
guess
like,
the more you grind, the more comfortable you get at doing it
definitely,
and learning your tools.
yeah.
I'm assuming
Muscle
you've
memory is a
upgraded.
thing for sure.
I'm assuming you've upgraded grinders by now.
I have, yeah. And unfortunately, I'm going back to the 1x30 because last week my Grizzly burnt up.
Which do you have the 2x42?
Yeah, yeah. I got hit with the E3 error.
So you got the same thing I just went through.
Yeah, I was working on the biggest drop, so I'm slowly transitioning from book orders. Like I'll probably still do book orders, but I want to limit them more. And I want to do drops instead. And so I was starting cutting stuff out. I cut out like 18 different things the other day, and I was shaping them down to size. I got down to the last Sago that I was working on, and then boom, just shuts off, and it will not turn back on. I gotta call them and see if they'll warranty it for me.
Yeah, I am in that
So,
same boat right now. Except for me, I went out to work and it wouldn't turn on. So
oh,
it must have overheated like the last time I used it, and I don't even remember what I was doing. But then the next day I was like totally psyched because I had gotten a small wheel attachment for it. So I was like getting ready to set everything up and do everything, and I went to go turn it on, and it gave me this weird error, and I was like, "What's going on?" And then come to
mhm.
find out, and so I called them, and that you probably have the 3/4 horse motor on there.
I think so. I thought it was a 1 horsepower, but I could be wrong.
And well, I had a 3/4. They're
Mhm.
sending me a 1 horsepower on it. I have the motor, but the temperature controller has been on back order for like a month.
Oh no.
So I am also back on my 1x30, and I've been doing my books. I've been doing drops on everything on my 1x30, and
It's hard to go back. I
it
definitely was
is.
spoiled with my
It
two
was.
by 40.
It was, but it was like riding a bike. I got back on there and I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember this now. I'm comfortable." And then
Yeah.
it all went fairly well. Knock on wood. I've been just knocking out knives left and right on that thing, which is fine. But when tools go down, it really stinks, like Donnie said.
Yeah.
And like I've I've had to replace all the bearings on my bandsaw. I've had
Oh,
I had now that And then my heat treat oven I had like a little oven, which used to be here up on the shelf. That burnt out and stopped working on me. So I had to go and get a new little oven for my Kydex and my tempering. It's like one thing after another. I can't win. I can't win. Yeah, Donnie, you've been following. I've been on that 1x30. I've been on the 1x30, nailing these things, getting those grinds in.
Well, I can tell you that most of these were done on a 1x30. This one is done on a 1x30.
All the early ones?
Yeah, this one was done on a 1x30.
What's the little one called again?
The manifold.
The manifold, that's what it is. Yeah.
I
like that manifold shape.
Yeah, this is the Warncliffe. This one actually came out from an accident. I was prototyping out the sheep's foot and messed up the swedge. I didn't like it, so I ended up just grinding it straight, and I was like, oh, I like that.
Yeah.
And so that's how I came up with the Warncliffe. The original one was the straight back.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just do different blade shapes for the manifold series. And the name for this one is not Utah related at all. This is actually like the one that has a random name, but the name means many and various. So that's what I wanted for this. So different blade shapes.
Yeah, that's cool.
I end up doing all kinds of different handles on those ones because that seems to be like the one I make the most of and get
as far as handle materials.
Yeah. And then we've got a Tonto.
Okay.
I'll probably end up redesigning this one a little bit, but this thing's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I like that.
It's like a little pocket sword.
I recently did a Tonto myself, but it was more of a Japanese style Tonto, I guess.
Where it's like more rounded out.
On the front end of the blade is a little bit more rounded. So it's flat and then a little bit more rounded. So it has a little bit more Japanese flair, I guess. I don't know. I don't get wrapped up into blade shapes a lot. It's like it is what it is.
Right.
It's a modified blade shape. How about that? It's just modified. But yeah, that's cool. So I like how you have like series. So the manifold series where they have the basic overall size, but then the only thing that really changes is the blade shape. But they have the same handle, the same kind of overall size. Where, I mean, that's cool because then you just flip out. You're always doing the same handles.
Mm-hmm.
You already know you're just changing up the blade shape here and there.
Yeah.
Be shady. What's going on?
Yeah. So the manifolds and the Segos they've been like a staple for sure.
Are those the manifolds and the Segos are your two biggest sellers?
Manifolds for sure. Segos manifolds have definitely surpassed, and then lately it's been the Falcon, and Three Peaks. The Three Peaks has been another one that's gotten a lot of attention. This was the talk of blade show at my table because I only had this prototype there, and I had multiple offers to buy it that weekend, but I was like, no, this is my only one. If I had more, I would let it go. But,
that's cool.
Yeah, this one has like
more of an overall shape.
Yeah, it's kind of like your traditional hunter style.
Yeah.
Fixed blade, but EDC sized.
Yeah.
And then it still has the forward jimping, the jimping on the thumb ramp.
Yeah.
So I like this thing a lot too. I'll carry this one quite a bit.
Is the handle micarta?
Yeah, so this one is black canvas micarta with natural canvas micarta pins.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good touch.
Yeah,
I've been talking
kind of
about
became
doing
my
pins.
the
It's
black and
funny
brown
how
I've
much
been
more
liking lately.
it's funny how much more expensive the micarta pins are compared to like just regular G10 pins.
Yeah, and then the quality in the micarta pins can vary, like
Yep,
especially if you get like tubes, like they're not always drilled perfectly centered, and
I've
like
heard that.
I feel like I have better quality with brass and copper
Oh yeah,
tubes that way.
I get it a little with the G10, but for the most part, it's pretty
Yeah,
steel.
mm,
But
yeah.
yeah, I like the look of the micarta with micarta though. It's pretty fun. Like I'll do the G10. I just finished this one yesterday, and it
Oh, I
has
like
the
that.
black micarta with the red G10, the red liners in it. But yeah. So and that one.
Ducky,
Yeah,
get down. Get down. Sorry, my dog's jumping on me. Oh, now the
that's
other one's
fine.
coming up.
All dogs are welcome.
I've got two, and they don't know what to do because I'm sitting here talking to the computer, and my wife's with the little one putting him down. So they're
Hey,
just like,
bring on,
pay attention to me.
bring on.
Gonna make a
Uh,
pin pairing night.
find a make a
Donnie,
pin.
while you're at it, make me one.
He's making a pin pairing knife.
Yeah.
Huh.
Have you seen his
You're
pairing knives?
fixing
They're
to make
pretty
one. All
sweet.
right, go Donnie. Yeah, you broke out that big one last time I had him on. He broke out a big paring knife. When I think of a little paring knife, though, I always think of something small.
He's got some smaller ones, like,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Donnie's killing it.
but
Donnie
yeah,
is killing it. So is
yeah.
like Atlanta Blade Show your big blade show that you go to?
Salt Lake is the one I go to.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
West.
Yep.
So Blade Show West. Obviously, yeah, Utah that's not
Yeah.
terribly far for you, is it?
No, it's about a 3.5 hour drive. I'm in
Oh well.
southern Utah, and then it's up in Salt Lake.
Yeah, so that's not far for you at all.
No,
That's
we'll go make a weekend of it. We usually go see the aquarium and stuff.
yeah.
Wait,
He said he'll trade you when he'll trade
I'll
you
trade
for
you, Donnie.
you
Yeah,
got him a manifold for
whatever you want.
heck yeah.
I'm down. And mine probably won't be soon either as my grinder burning up.
Yeah, that's gonna slow you down a little bit.
That's for sure.
A little bit, but that's fun. So do you mainly do for EDC like how would you normally carry?
Yeah, so I pocket carry most of my fixed blades in my back pocket. So this is kind of typically how it's set up with the ulti clip.
Okay.
In the beginning, I used to appendix carry. And then what kind of changed that for me was the manifold, because the reason I designed that one is I really liked the Obaki Skoshi, the Lucas Burnley design that he did with CRKT. It was just like a traditional Japanese style pocket dropper where like you tie the lanyard to your belt loop, throw it in your pocket.
Okay.
And it was like a little 3-finger size blade. But what I didn't really like about it was just like how much swoop it had on the blade. But I really liked that idea. And so I was like, well, I'll just make my own pocket dropper. And then instead of tying the lanyard to it, I ended up just trying out an ulti clip. And then from then on, it's just been, I just carried it in my back pocket. With the manifolds, Michael from Fighter Flight Leatherworks, he's made me these custom manifold slips that will fit any blade shape.
Of yours?
So yeah, of mine. So they're designed specifically around the manifolds.
Paul, what's going on, Paul?
I sent him one so that he could have one to design it around. We offer different belt clips too, so you can get like a plain belt clip,
Okay.
an ulti clip, and then I forget what this one is. The discreet carry. Is that the brand? I'm sure somebody will correct me.
Yeah. I don't know.
But yeah, so I've been carrying my manifolds that way. I haven't really been carrying those in the Kydex lately. But
Okay.
all
And
the
is that
full size models are Kydex with the ulti clip. I only have a couple ulti clips, so I just end up moving them from knife to knife.
when you're doing a knife for somebody, that's how you would set it up for pocket carry?
So I don't include a clip. Right now, my knives come just like this.
Okay.
Or, well, without the bead. You would get a, I guess this is a better example. So this is the only CDC exclusive I've kept, and then that's because it's a blem. But they typically come with a hand-tied lanyard, your Kydex sheath, and then the blade, obviously.
Yeah.
And
then it's
then
up to them
that
however they
allow,
want to carry it.
yeah, and then they can carry it however they want. Because I've looked into getting soft leather loops, but then the people that don't want appendix carry, that doesn't really do anything for them, and then they're just stuck with those loops. So I figure just let them carry it how they do. This was the original design for the manifold.
To be neck carried?
Yeah, so that it could be neck carried. I've kind of gone away from that just because it's a little bit more difficult in the Kydex process to make sure the blade sits the same way every time, so that I have enough space up here for this extra eyelet.
Yeah.
But I like to
It
do a
is.
taco sheath.
Yeah, I do too. I just finished this one for somebody and they requested it to be neck carry. So I had to set up the Kydex for neck carry. I'm throwing in the loop anyway because I always throw in one of these loops on my Kydex anyway, but because that's how I like to carry it, appendix carry.
Right.
But because like all of mine have a little loop on them, but that's cool. Trouble Bunny
Thanks,
asked, "Are you
Baptism.
making the leather sheaths?" No. Who did
Are
you
you
say is doing your leather sheaths?
The leather ones are Fight or Flight Leatherworks. He's on Instagram. His name is
There
Michael.
you go.
Normally I have a card nearby, or at least something with his logo on it. It's like two Fs that kind of look like a tree.
Yeah,
I appreciate that, Baptism. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's why I do try to give as many holes as possible, because everyone likes to carry it differently. If you want to throw the soft leather loops, but you only are given a couple holes, then you're kind of limited where you can put those. And then, so I space them all out a 1/2 inch. The center of each hole is 1/2 inch. That accommodates ulti clips, and most other clips nowadays are about the same spacing. And then, so I just put as many as needed, I guess, for the length of the blade. Typically, it's usually about 6 to 8.
Yeah. Alex, are you asking about these loops? These are like rubber IWB soft belt loops, so it's like a rubber material. I get these off of knifekits.com, holstersmith.com, or they also have a store on Amazon. You can pick up pick up 2 for like $12, and they come in all kinds of different colors. So that's what I use. And they screw on. They could be unsnapped on and off the belt pretty easily. So
and you can go to websites like knifekits.com and like all those other maker sites, and they'll usually sell like big rolls of it for pretty cheap. Yeah. And then you can just cut however many you want to the exact size you want.
Yeah. But they sell everything included, where you could get the snaps and everything is one kit. So you can buy the whole kit. So that's usually what I do. I don't have time to just continue to make custom rubber things. So they're already coming with all the hardware on it. I just got to screw it on. That's where I'm at. That's where I am out. Do you guys space those standard distance? Answered. Yeah, he answered it. I don't. I just kind of eyeball them and I just put them on. So, but
I kind of did it. I kind of did that in the beginning. I would kind of put. This is kind of an example where I did that, where I kind of just eyeballed the spacing, but kind of tried to make them even. And it works, but it kind of off centers a little bit.
Like if you want to put an ulti clip on it, they do have slots in there to put the hardware, so it's gonna line up at somewhere in there. It's gonna line up perfectly.
Right.
So,
what's up, Terry? Paul, I don't think I said hi. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, everybody's popping in. I'm just trying to get caught up. Brown Sugar, hello. If I didn't say the 1931 Leatherworks, hello, hello. What's going on? Awesome. So your grinder is down on the 1x30 again. What does production look like right now? You said you're not doing books anymore, or you're getting away from it?
I'm not going to be taking as many book orders. So before I didn't really limit them. I would just kind of open them, and then when I would get to a point where I felt like, okay, time-wise, this is enough, I would just kind of close it, which typically would be about like 15 to 20 orders at a time. Okay. And then that usually keeps me busy for a little while.
Yeah, what kind of time frame on that?
So last year I was going a lot faster. I was probably like 2 to 3 months on a knife, with having orders of like 15 to 20 at a time. And that was also with doing the exclusives on top of my book orders. This year, well, it's good in the sense of life and like money wise and stuff. My flooring business, I'm now an owner of the flooring business I was working for, and so I've now more involved in that, and so more of my time and energy has kind of gone into that this year. So the knife thing has been slowed down a little bit as far as like I don't get as much time out in the shop. So that's kind of been a factor this year. So my turnaround times this year have been a little longer. But with that, I do get to pay more attention to things. I don't feel like I'm rushing through them as much as I was last year, because I was trying to keep up on top of orders, the custom orders, the exclusives, and trying to make stuff for Blade Show. So there was times where like I felt like I was missing stuff.
Okay.
And then also with this year, what was a big thing is I had 2 mouth surgeries early this year, which basically took me out for like 2 to 3 months where I wasn't doing anything in the shop. I was barely doing anything at work, and then coming home and just sleeping.
Heck yeah, no kidding.
So,
that was my next question was, are you doing it full time? So you're not doing it full time. You do have a regular job, and it's just your part-time hobby kind of maker type of thing.
Yeah, the goal is full time. This is what I like to do. Honestly, my favorite part of the process is the designing process. Like, because I went to school for graphic design, and that's what I went to college for, and so it kind of like felt like that's what I really like. So I've gotten notebooks full of different knife designs that I would just love to do one day. I just don't have the time. But like each page has like 6 different knives drawn on it. Like I don't just like draw one knife per page. Like each one will have 6 front and back, and I've got like probably 8 of those books full. And like I'll flip through them and be like, oh, I want to do that. Oh, I want to do that. I want to do that. And then it's just, I've got so many that
I know how that is. Believe me. I know how that is.
I need to start selling some designs so some of them can get out into the world, because I'm like, some of these are cool.
You need to start getting some of those designs put into CAD so you can get some production stuff out there.
Definitely. Yeah, I talked with Boss Seed a couple of years ago. We were in talks for a little while about doing something that didn't really end up working out. But
Yeah.
I did end up talking to Concept at Blade Show last year. Got a contact with them. So we've kind of talked here and there. I would like to do something with them. But right now, another like big thing is some more exclusives actually with Going Gear. So I'll be
Okay.
doing some exclusives for them. Those ones will be handmade still by me.
Okay, so you're actually going to make a bank of them just specifically for them.
Yeah. So kind of like what I was doing with the crispy donut guys. I think we're doing 10 though.
Okay.
Yeah, so there will be a little bit more of them. And then right now, I don't know if they're going to be the same way every time. Like as far as handle materials go, because what we're doing is an exclusive blade shape for them on the manifold.
Oh, you
Yeah.
heard it here first, guys.
Yeah.
Gotta have to keep up with that. I mean, that would be cool to see a design coming out for a concept. Are you OEMing or collaborating with them to do that? Do you know? Would you be able to answer that?
That one would probably be more of a collab. The one that we were kind of talking about at Blade Show that weekend was what did I just do with it? Was the Three Peaks. I don't know what I ended up doing with it. Oh, there it is. It fell off to the side. So this was the one that I was talking to Concept about, which I think kind of actually fits
Yeah, I can see that.
their branding and design
Yep.
language.
Yep. It's funny how you think of certain design languages with certain companies, but you're right. That if you slapped the Concept logo on that, totally would be like, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Totally.
Yeah, so
Heck
we were
yeah.
talking about doing that one.
That's cool.
But
just be patient.
Yeah, I just need to reach out. Yeah. Yeah, I just need to kind of reach out more, start working on some more CAD. I've got a couple designs in CAD already. So I just need to kind of take the time to reach out to everyone.
With your degree, you're probably doing your own CAD.
So I was more of like the Photoshop side of things than CAD. So I'm still learning CAD. It makes sense to me because a lot of the tool is similar, but at the same time, once it starts getting into like I don't know, I guess the more so like the 3-dimensional things, or you're starting to move it around, and that's where I start to get a little confused. Like doing bevels, I still have a hard time programming in bevels.
Yeah,
I can do like blanks all day. I can design a blank. I can design the handle, but as soon as it comes to like doing the CAD and doing the bevel, no. Like I always miss the tip somehow. Like it'll like design everything but the tip of the knife. It'll still be like an 1/8 inch thick at the tip. I'm like, what happened there?
Yeah, I tried to play with CAD just in 2D, and it was driving me crazy. I was like, no, I don't have the patience for this. I'll just go draw it on a piece of wood and do it that way. Start my blank that way. But yeah. Anybody who's going into doing a collaboration project, you just got to be patient because it takes them a while to get all that stuff done. And at least my experience was the communication is not always forthcoming on things are happening, which is when you're in control and you own your own business. So not communicating is one of the worst things, or not just answering back emails or something is like drives me crazy.
Right.
But I just want to know. Just tell me what's going on, and then I'll leave you alone for the next month. I'll just leave you alone. Yeah. So it sounds like you have a lot of things going on right now, which is awesome.
Yeah, that definitely keeps us busy. And then I'm a husband and father too. We've got a little 4-year-old that keeps us busy.
Absolutely.
So yeah, definitely keeps me.
Get some clay. The pebbles are tricky. Yeah, Jim knows CAD, so Jim Cox, some CAD experience. And Bob Tism likes making cars. Yeah, I'm at that point in mine where the kids are all older. My youngest is in college. She's actually off in Eastern Europe right now, traveling the world. So that's
cool.
Really cool. She's an archaeology degree, and she was just doing an archaeological dig in Romania. And
oh, that's way cool.
So she sent me some pictures of her in the pit, and they found they actually found a burial. It was really cool. But now she's done with that. Now she's going and touring. She's going to end up in Poland and then flying home here in the next couple of days. But yeah, I can't wait I think I'm going to have her on the Makerspace, guys. She's going to be, Bryn is going to be she's going to tell us all about her experience in Europe. I'm excited about that. She turned 21 over there, which is crazy. So my youngest is 21. So my knife thing is my little getaway. It's something that I'm building into doing. So that's cool that you have a thriving business, flooring business, but you're still, and it sounds like the night with all the side projects and things that you have going on, that's pretty good. And that would drive me crazy, having like 10 or 12 book spots that you're trying to get to.
Yeah.
Because people get frustrated with me because I limit how many spots I'm going to do, but I try to get them done within a month. So making 5 or 6 a month is where I'm comfortable at doing. Besides the heat treating, because I send off my stainless. Obviously, I don't have an oven either, so I send it off to Peter's to get heat treated. So I'm at the mercy of them.
Yeah, and there's nothing you can really do to speed that up there. But I think at the same time, people are very understanding.
Oh, no.
So like, as long as you kind of keep them updated and everything, and I'd like to give a fair estimation of time, like right up front. Like if I'm not working on a whole lot, like a month to 2 months. Like if it's like 5 knives or so, like a month to 2 months. Like 10 knives, like 2 to 3. Anything more than that, okay, I'm probably like 3-5 months out. Like, and I'll give them that expectation up front. And then sometimes it gets done sooner, and then sometimes it's a little later. But like they get updates when I can, or if they reach out, like, yeah, hey, here's where it's at. I've done this and this and this, but I haven't had shop time because of this and this and this. And I always explain, like, because for a while there with the surgeries and stuff, I was getting asked for updates, and sorry guys, like, I'm healing from surgery. I'm not in the shop. Like, I'm not even gonna try.
Like I said, it's about communication, and that's kind of what got me into knife making. Was I had a really bad experience with a design that I asked a knife maker to make for me. And I sent him pictures of what I was looking for, and he agreed and gave me a timeline. And then I even made a wooden blank, like I normally do, of that of the knife, the pattern, so that he could build a knife off that pattern. And I sent it to him. I know it got to him, and then like 2 months went by, I didn't hear from him. And so he kind of ghosted me. And when I finally got the knife, it was not what I wanted,
Oh
basically.
no.
And
Yeah.
so I was like really annoyed. And through that process, I learned about stock removal knife making. And I was always pretty handy with tools and stuff. And I was like, I could try that, you know. And I always try to give people, because of that, I overly communicate, overly share, not just obviously my channel. I share everything that's going on with my channel, but behind closed doors, they're getting pictures and updates before everybody else does normally.
Right. Yeah.
So they're getting all of that
orders
thing.
that I sent out this past weekend that I haven't even posted about yet.
Yeah.
I've been bad about my posting this year, honestly, but
it's
the
hard.
customers always get pictures.
Yeah, they get the pictures. I like sharing those pictures, but I usually try to give 6 to 8 week timeline on everything that I'm doing. But then, you know, sometimes I get done much sooner than what I think. But
yeah,
it's all of this whole process is crazy of getting out there, just playing with designs, doing new things. What is your process when you come up with a new design? Do you go to paper straight to the steel, or do you create a blank of some kind, or what does that look like?
Depends on what it's going to be. Because lately I've been having fun making one-offs, and so with those will go straight from the drawing in my notebook to the steel, and then it's done from there. I'll finish it out, and then if it's a design that I know I'm going to be messing with or playing around with more or doing more than one, I'll take it from paper to aluminum and cut out a blank out of aluminum. And then from there, I'll use that blank as my template for the steel. And then I'll make one out of steel. So this one right here is an actual one I'm prototyping out right now. And this one started off with a aluminum template, and then this is the first steel one that's been made. And then I'm actually really liking this one. The only thing I think I'm going to really change is probably the shape of this scale right here. It looked better on paper. And so that's why I ended up trying it. I was like, well, it looks good on paper, but I'm not sure I like it so much. And then I'm going to change the jimping a little bit. So right now it's got quite a bit of jimping.
Yeah.
Here up to here, and then there's a space, and then more jimping here for your front. But I think I'm just going to run that jimping all the way down the spine on this one. Since it pretty much already is, other than this one spot, and that one spot where it's not, I think actually needs the jimping, which is funny. So
you did the one spot where your finger hits.
Yeah.
And that's like, depending on the size of your file, that could just be like one more pass on the file.
Yeah, it pretty much is. To connect it. So I think I'm just gonna run it all the way down on this one. I don't know if I'm gonna do a swedge or not right now. I like it without the swedge. And then what I did different on this knife than I've done on any of the other ones that I'm playing around with is the grind lines go off the knife so that it doesn't have the need for a sharpening choil.
Yeah, I see that.
So,
but you still have plenty of space there where your finger is safe, not going to get onto that blade.
Yeah, it still tucks up. So it's designed right now that 2 fingers basically fit here, 2 fingers fit here. So it's a full size grip, but also neutral. This one is I've designed to be like an everyday companion type of full size type of guy.
one similar where the bevel starts behind the heel, I guess, of the blade. But your finger is still away from that cutting edge, and it's not gonna fall up in there. But yeah, so
yeah, that's something I've been playing with. It's a little tricky doing it freehand.
Yeah, it is. I always. Are you freehanding your grinds?
I am.
That's awesome.
Yeah, everything's freehand ground. The swedges are all freehand ground.
I need to get better at my freehand grinding. That is for sure.
I
Now, when you have a design and you do the jimping, so when you have that, the jimping's always going to be the same.
For yes
or
and
it,
no.
or
I play with it. So the sways, I haven't made one of these in a long time. As you can tell, this one has hardware, but this one has that bigger, like almost like pterodactyl.
Yeah, the tactical pterodactyl jimping.
Yeah. So more like that style. I've got a prototype for the Gear Goons collab. I don't know if I grab that one. And that one's got, and I'll grab it real quick.
Yeah, no worries. You got Jim. I know Jim's into the AutoCAD. Yeah. Practically all earth moving work is done GPS controlled. Yeah, Jim knows all about that. That's for sure. Choose violence daily. Yes, Paul, I know you do.
So this is the Gear Goons collab.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, and so it's got the bigger jimping here on the downward part of the warney.
Yeah.
And then this flat part up here has the checkering file jimping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I like
so that
double jimping like that.
Yeah. And that one definitely has some tactical pterodactyl inspiration.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very Raptor-esque. That is for sure.
Yeah.
That is very much like that. I like that shape. That looks very similar to that concept. Concept goblin, not the goblin, another blade that they have. I don't know.
What I ended up liking this blade shape from was my Demco 8020, the shark foot.
Shark block, yeah, shark
foot. Yeah, because it's got that. It's like flat up top and goes down with that just last little bit of at the end, and I was like, ooh, I really like that, but I want a small one. So that's kind of where this one came from.
And now they have a small one.
Yeah, and now they have a small one. Yeah.
Is that where you get your design aesthetic styles from, or design ideas from the production world?
A lot of them, yeah.
Yeah.
And then custom makers as well, like Gavco. I've followed Gavco forever. Love his stuff.
Gavco does some really interesting things. That is for
sure. And I love it. Like his custom work and stuff is so cool.
Yeah.
I love Fair and Forge. They're just clean designs. I really like clean.
Yep.
I think that's what I like about Chris Reeves as well. It's just a real clean, iconic design. I love Spyderco more so for like, I really love their heat treatments. I've never had an issue with any of their knives. They're always comfortable in hand. They may not look like they would be, but they always feel great. Yeah, the Para 3. I actually just sold my Para 3 to my brother-in-law. I sold my lightweight because I've been carrying my PM2 lately.
Yeah, it's funny. Non-knife people, or just people getting into it, it's when they see a Spyderco, they're like, "Man, that's an ugly knife. I don't understand it." Until you get one in your hand.
Yeah,
and then you get it in your hand, and you're just kind of like, "Okay, wait. Yeah, that makes sense now. I think
And
my first one was like a Delica,
okay,
and I was like, okay, yeah, totally makes sense. And then I got a Dragonfly, and I was like, yeah. And then I got this one, and I was like, all of them are comfortable in hand.
yeah.
It's just crazy.
I started off with the paramilitary 2 and fell in love with the thumb ramp, which I like didn't know I would, and that's
Yeah, there you go.
it shows that like I
It
fell
just
in
needs
love
a
with the
hole.
thumb ramp because the Sego, this is actually the Sego V2. The V1 is basically the same thing but just a drop point. There is no thumb ramp. So between me making the one and this one, I bought my PM2 and loved the thumb ramp, and I was like, that would actually be great on the Sego, and so I added it before I even showed anyone this design.
Yeah.
But I do have a version 1 sitting in my other box.
That's it. Yeah, totally makes sense. I can see it now. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Kelly, I have not donated to Blue and Sis for the entry to Legion Steel's raffle / drawing. So I know that they have their live going on right now as well to help Blue and Sis out. If you could drop a link in here, that would be awesome. Everybody can go do that real quick. Don't leave our chat, but we want to help out our brother and sister Bluminati and Twisted Sis. That is for sure. What's up, Paul Mills, channel member? What's going on? Well, that is my name. That is my name, but I'm in the middle of a live stream. Maybe I did. Maybe I did, Kelly. I mean, that's my name. My name is Scott Halpern. I won. Did I win? What did I win? What did I win? Tell them I'm in the middle of a live stream and I can't. You put Halpem. No, I'm not Halpem. All right, it didn't win. You got me excited.
He was about to end the stream.
I'm gonna end it right now. That's awesome. So it sounds like you have the Gear Goons guys coming up, and you're gonna make 10 blades for them.
I don't know how many we're gonna be doing for them. Probably 5 to 10 for them. The Going Gear exclusives, those will be 10.
Okay.
If I have my book on me, I do.
All right. So you're going to make just 10 of them, and that will get put into, they're going to buy them from you, and
the invoice was sent off this week. Yeah, the invoice was sent off this week. Those ones will be fun. I'll show you the blade shape to them, but they're going to be dark matter fat carbon with green glow, and then green G10 pins and lanyard tube.
Okay.
With the black rough wash, and then the exclusive blade shape. So we might end up changing the scales and everything now if we do further runs, but the blade shape itself will be theirs exclusively.
Okay. That's awesome.
I think this book right here has my...
It's awesome to have companies that you want to work for that want to collaborate with you with that kind of stuff. That's awesome.
And the thing is like it's just from like people either handling my stuff or just like talking to them and then them bringing it up. So the Crispy Donut collab came about because of Sam, who works with Boss Steve, told them about me. And he handled the original Manifold prototype at Blade Show, and he's like, you have to check this guy out. And so I ended up going on their live stream and talking to them a bit, and they're like, let's talk after the live stream. And so then ended up working out a deal with them, and then my buddy Jay, he did a custom order from me, and then a couple days later he's like, hey, so I actually work with Going Gear, and I would like to do some exclusives with them with you guys. And so cool. yeah, he was a customer first, and then he's like, you know what, let's do a collab together. And so now we're going to be doing that. And
That's
it's
awesome. Did they give you a timeline on what they need and when they need it?
um no, so I gave them a timeline as far as like how long it would take.
Okay.
But they said they're not really so much in a rush because they want to plan drops out and do like
Well,
monthly
yeah.
drops. And so I don't know if they'll like immediately drop as soon as they're done, or if they'll hold on to them for like a month or so and then drop them. But uh, yeah, those will be coming out through them. This might not be the right notebook.
I won, Kelly. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sure I entered it if it was trying to help Blue and Twisted Sis. I've done a bunch of stuff for them, so that's awesome. Yeah, it's crazy to be contacted for companies to do some collabs with that. That's pretty cool. And then you're just making them out of 1095 and going to send them over to them, and then whatever specs and blade shapes and handle materials, and then you just move on. That's kind of cool. I have had I have a this is new news to everybody. I'm not going to give too much out because there's nothing in writing and nothing happening right now. But I have had a knife company reach out to me that asked if I would be willing to finish off some handle scales for their next big drop.
Ooh.
But we're talking 50 blades, and they're getting some Giancarta handles.
Oh.
And they've seen what my handles look like, and they liked the finish that I've been able to do on some of my Cartas.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, well, if we'd like for you to finish them, we'll cut them, we'll shape them, you just finish them. And I'm kind of like, okay. And they're like, cool. we'll send you a tester, you could do it, and then you send it back, and if we want to do it, then we'll do it. I'm like, I'm down to go. I'm down to try. I kind of pass things up because I'm like, I don't know with time wise if I can do it with what they want, and I don't want to sacrifice customer builds to do something else. But that's how you get your name out there. But I'm also happy where I am, being able to just sell the knives that I have, that I'm making, and fill my books, and to do that. Yes, yeah. Paul. if it ain't Juma Gem, he doesn't care. Ever since I did Juma Gem, that's all he talked about is Juma Gem. I won a silver Asker. Awesome. Do I have to be present to win, Kelly, or will they reach out to me? This is funny. This is hilarious. I won.
Awesome.
That's awesome. I won an Asker. That's cool. That is awesome. I'm flustered now because I don't know. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. So, how would somebody go about getting one of your knives? They reach out to you on Instagram? Do you have a website? Do you have any of those other things?
Yeah, so Instagram's the best way to get a hold of me. I typically will update on there when my books are open. Even if my books are closed, reach out. Like, yeah, I squeeze people in all the time. I do have a website. It's bigcartel.wkt.com. So I need to get an actual domain name, so it's not so long. But
yeah,
knives typically don't make it to the website. And then I think the only thing on there right now is probably some poker chips. I think there's probably like 5 poker chips left on the website. They're I guess I
Oh, that is
can
cool.
pull it out. This is a
Yeah,
fight or flight wallet. So the same guy that makes my sheaths, he makes these wallets. They're pretty sweet.
that's awesome.
Hold the
He does
coin.
wallets. Yeah, it's crazy how many leather workers are starting to pop up here and there, and they're doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah. So that's the Wade poker chip. There's a
That's
couple
awesome.
of those on the website. It just says Wade Knife and Tool established 2023. On
There
the
you
back
go.
says USA made fixed blades.
There you go, guys. Got to go check them out. That would be awesome. If any of my mods have that website and you could throw it up, that would be awesome. But yeah. So
It's also linked on my Instagram. So Wade Knife and Tool on Instagram. Everything is on there.
and as far as like getting a custom, they're gonna pick one of your knives, or if somebody approaches you with a design, would you try to bring that to life, or are you gonna basically stick to what your designs are?
I typically stick to my own designs, but I have done designs for other people. I'm not opposed to it, especially if I have the time for it.
Yeah.
That's typically like I'm fairly well known locally, which is kind of funny because I don't really put myself out there, but people know of me. And so like it's kind of crazy. And so I get asked to do like if I draw a knife, can you make it? I get asked to do that a lot. So I'll turn that down because I get asked it quite a bit locally.
Yeah.
But yeah, if somebody came and was like, "Hey, I have this fixed blade all drawn up, everything. I want it to be this size. Can you do something with it?" I can definitely do that. I love being able to help out and work on different things. Um, Paul might sent me his transparent knives fixed blade that he made some scales for, and I made him a sheath for it. And so just
Yeah.
even making the sheath for it, I was like, "That's cool." I got to work on one of Brian's knives, you know.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
awesome.
I also have,
You did a Kydex sheath for it?
yeah, I did a Kydex sheath for him, and then
And Paul says it's perfect. That's awesome.
yeah, it took 2 tries.
Yeah,
I did a push ramp for him, and the first one, the push ramp came out good, but the sheath had like no retention. Is once I pushed that ramp up, it like took all the retention out of it. I was like,
oh yeah, you got to be
oh,
careful with that.
yeah. I
Yeah,
was like, now I got to redo
now
it.
you have to redo it. Yeah, that's so tough. Like when I do my ramps, I put my press up vertically and I press everything. I clamp everything in except for what I'm gonna push.
That's smart. I didn't do
So it
that.
keeps like that part where you want it, like that bottom part. I'm assuming where the handle scale is, and
Yep.
so I'm just pushing that part back because I don't want that to happen. But because once you heat it up,
Yeah.
it gets to the point where do that. Yeah, well, I did a taco sheath for this, and then everybody started to hit me up, and they're like, "Oh, I want you to do mine. I'll send you my Dust Devil. You can do it for me." And I'm like, "No, no, 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 no.
Yeah.
Let's put the squash on that. I'm not. I can't make my knives." And I'm gonna
And
start doing sheaths for everybody. So
yeah,
that's why I I put out something. I'm like, look, if you want to know how to do a sheath, I can try to help you, but we need
yeah.
more people in the community making just Kydex sheaths for people because there's plenty of production blades
There's a
that
guy
need
here locally that does some pretty good work.
that need an updated Kydex sheath. And I know this isn't NAF's fault.
Right.
I'm sure Ben would love to probably do a taco sheath for that.
What's up, Black Sparrow?
But they're getting it. I forgot who is Kaiser. Kaiser OEMs that. So
Yeah.
Kaiser's doing a lot of that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Um,
Mad Yoko was doing Kydex sheaths for a little while. Oh, what's that? What's that?
so this is another example of me working on something for somebody else.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
this is a transparent knives reblade for the bug out.
I was gonna say it looks like a bug out, but that blade.
Yeah. So my buddy in St. George that works at a knife shop won a blank from Brian at Transparent Knives. And he paid me to grind it for him. He wanted this finish on it. I ground it for him. And then I told him, you ever get rid of it, I have first dibs. And so he ended up getting rid of it. So I actually reacquired this back.
There you go.
Yeah. So this is one I got to work on.
Is that a completely blade swap? Like, did you put a brand new blade on it with just a different shape, or you used what they gave you? What was there?
No, this is a Magna Cut.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because that's not even the same size as just a regular bug out blade. So you had to have done a whole new blade shape.
Yeah, it's from Brian at Transparent Knives. He does bug out reblade.
He does. He does reblade.
Yeah, and he had this blank that he was giving away. It was unground, but
so you did the blank. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I remember putting in for the giveaway. Actually, I wanted to win it. I was like, oh, I could grind that. And then my friend actually ended up winning it. So I still ended up getting to work on it. I was like, well, at least I get to work on it. That's cool. I get to touch one of Brian's reblades.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Then he messaged me probably a few months back and was like, hey, I'm getting rid of that bug out. Do you want it? And I was like, yep, I do want it. And so I put it on my Flytanium handles. I'm going to end up rough washing it because the satin's not my personal taste. So I'll end up doing a rough wash and making it my own. Yeah.
Is that how you do your dark washes? You acid etch?
I do. Yeah. So I actually learned that from Simple Little Life again. He's got that video. How do I get my knives so dark?
Yep.
And
absolutely.
I have following that, like the 50-50 mixture with a little bit of apple cider vinegar
and
to top it off. Perfect.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
That is a perfect, nice dark acid etch on there and the tumble. Yep.
Yeah.
I think I have a 60-40. So it's mostly ferrochloride and a 40% acid apple cider vinegar. But yeah, it's still.
Yeah, I did 50-50 with water. So ferrochloride, 50 water. And then I had like this much space in my container left. And I filled the rest of that. So it's not like an exact measurement. I probably won't be able to duplicate it, but
no, I've had to redo my ferrochloride one time, and I was like, well, I'm just throwing it. Because I'm just kind of sure that works. Yeah, I wish I could show you that one, but I have it all taped up because I just glued up that handle.
Yeah.
But I just dark washed that one today, but that's in Nitro V. So
we're talking Paul washes, Paul.
Yeah, Paul's gonna get excited. We're talking about finishes, different finishes.
What's up, Gonzo?
Do you work with different materials with handles, or you're just kind of whatever the person wants?
Whatever the person wants. Yeah, with the custom orders, it's really whatever they want. I don't limit them.
Yeah.
If they want it, I'll get it. It will affect the price, and I let them know that up front. Like, hey, the more expensive the handle material is, the more the knife is going to cost.
Yeah.
So I give them the starting price, and then the starting price includes like G10, micarta, the more simple stuff. Like, so if you say all micarta and all G10, that base price, that's what you pay. I do a lot of work with camo carbon and fat carbon. I get a lot of those. I've got a one-off sitting in my drawer I should have grabbed.
That's a good material.
Yeah.
I like working with it. It's funny, and I've talked to other makers about it. It's funny how rough it is on your saws, but when it comes to the abrasive part of it, you have to be careful because it moves really fast.
Yep. And
it's not fun to cut.
Destroys drill bits.
Yes. drill
That's hard.
bits and bandsaw blades
Yeah.
destroys, but
Yeah.
abrasives, abrasives not so much. Like doing like fun
Oh, that's
inlay
pretty.
stuff like that.
I like that.
So that's like desert ironwood and this jade true stone
Ooh.
blade. So I
Yeah.
just
I
finished
like that
that
brown
one all
green
up.
combo.
Yeah, it's a good looking combo.
We need to do a trade.
With the brass. Yeah, this was a custom order that the person asked for specifically. So
I like that.
normally
that,
I
like,
wouldn't go. I don't go
style
out of my way to do that just because so much work is involved with building
lining
the
everything up and
yeah, getting all of that to line up perfectly without any gaps or spaces.
Stressful.
And it drives me crazy if I see just like a little space and I'm like, oh, it didn't go. Because sometimes once it's done gluing up, there's nothing you could do about it at that point.
I sold a Blem CDC exclusive at Blade Show last year, and I advertised it as blemish and discounted it and everything. And it's funny because people will walk up and they're like, pick it up and they're looking at it and, where's the blem? Where's it
They
at?
don't see it. Yeah.
And then you show it to them, and they're like, I would have never even seen that. It's like, it's all I see. It's like, take it away because that's all I see.
And I do that on every single one of mine. It's anybody else, they're like, oh, it's great. And I'm like, there's that one thing.
It's like, I could have done that better. I know I could have.
You're tunnel visioned on it too. That's all you see.
Yep.
That's all you see.
Because this my blemish CDC manifold had the same issue as the one I sold, and I see it right off the back. I don't know if you can see it, but this pin looks smaller than this pin because it broke off inside the knife when I was pushing it through.
Oh no.
So this side they match, they're the same size, but this one broke. So it looks like I used two different size pins on that one.
The diameter, you're talking about the diameter? Yeah.
The diameter.
Okay. It is very difficult to see, especially on
the and it's the camo carbon, so it like wants to shine and has the different layers to it. But
funny. What's the pin material? G10?
Yeah, pink G10.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, so the one at Blade Show had the same issue where I was pushing the G10 pin through and it snapped.
Oh.
And I tried grinding it down enough to where it would return back to its original diameter. And if I would have went any thinner, I would have no handles left.
No handle left. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that stinks.
I was like, all right, well, I'll just keep it as a blemished one. And then I was like, I'll figure out something to do with it.
Yeah.
And I had those two blemished ones forever. And then I was like, you know what? I'll keep one. I was like, because I never keep anything that's like updated or finished. And I was like, technically, it's not like sellable. Like, as like, well, it is, but
yeah,
I don't know. I was like, I'll keep one. And then I sold the other one.
Yeah, I have a couple. I have a couple that I've held back that I've been like, nah. I could never sell that for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I just
Black
wouldn't
Sparrow
sell.
actually has one of my Segos and one of my favorite ones that I made.
Black Sparrow.
I was gonna make it for Blade Show, and he hit me up and was like, I like this material, and I was like, well, here, let me show you the idea I was gonna do with that. And he's like, yeah. And I did it's like a deep dark red rich light with black canvas micarta tubes, and then inside those tubes I inserted Ultim, so you can see the Ultim. Like if you look at it through the light, it like looks like it's almost
glowing. You can see the Ultim through it. That's cool.
Yeah, it's sweet. That's one of my favorite Segos I've done.
I did. So speaking of Simple Little Life, he did that challenge. I think it was about a year ago, and he put out this blade shape, not necessarily the handle. That's one of my handle shapes, but he did
Right.
that blade shape, and it was kind of the maker build along challenge. He did that, so
Yeah.
it inspired me to make this knife, which was not easy to grind.
I
As
bet.
you
That's
can
weird because
imagine,
you have to like, yeah, it's
trying to
opposite
grind
than
that
what
space.
you normally do.
And I
Yeah.
don't freehand grind. I use a jig. So I was able to do it, but that it got so
That's
thin.
real thin at the tip. Yeah, that's probably
It
super
is super.
slicey.
It is. It goes down to nothing. Like it just goes to nothing. And the grinds aren't even and everything because wasn't easy. So I could never sell this. I was going to, and then I was like, no, I don't feel comfortable selling it. So now I keep it. And I never made another one. I might try. I told everybody I would try it again here coming up probably end of August. I'll probably try it again, but it wasn't
I,
fun. That wasn't a
yeah,
fun blade shape to
I wanted to try to play around with some stuff like that, but I don't know. I always think about like sharpening it, and like I also want to
yeah.
try a chisel grind. Like I think that would be fun to do, but then I'm like sharpening it's not going to be fun at the end.
Yeah, that
I've
is.
been working on a. I don't know where I put it. I have the template somewhere here in the house, but I'm trying my hand at like a self defense knife for the first time. And so that's been a learning curve because it's not like my
Oh
normal
yeah,
style at all. And like I like the clean, simple
yeah. I'm not.
deep
I don't
finger
even
choils. I like to tuck my finger
that.
in.
Yeah, even that I wouldn't. That's not. I didn't do that for self defense. I just did it because I kind of liked
Right.
that blade shape. It's still. It would
That
be a good EDC little. Definitely is great at opening packages. I tell you that much.
it'd be perfect for what I do, flooring.
Yeah, there you
All
go.
we do is open flooring boxes, pop in pallet ties. That blade shape would be perfect. Pop right underneath the tie and just go pop it
Yep.
right up.
And that's
Yeah.
ADCRV2, which I heat treated myself. So
Oh,
I was
sweet. So yeah,
questioning
it's
the
gonna be
heat treat
tough.
on it because it just got so thin. But but that's why I keep it here. But I haven't had any issues. Knock on wood, I haven't had any issues with it. But I don't do a lot of heavy cutting with it anyway. But I don't do heavy cutting with a lot of my stuff. So anyway, so I have a question, and it's something that it got me when I first got into making. And it was something I felt when I finished my first knife, and it kind of led to the addiction of wanting to do more. And that was, what was the feeling that you had? Well, kind of like, and I know you maybe since it's in a drawer, you don't talk about your first knife, but when you finished it, did it make you feel a sense of accomplishment, or was there something there where you were like, that was a fun process, I want to continue to do that?
It was, so I got it to a point where I did like it. And I ended up staining the handle. It was just some like cheap wood I got at Home Depot, like in the cutoff section where they
Yeah.
sell it discounted. So I went and grabbed some of that to use as handles, and I didn't like the color, so I stained it all dark and everything. And I ended up actually really liking it. And then I ended up making like one or two more after that and kind of understanding grinding more. And I was like, oh, I can fix that first one. And I ruined that first one thinking I could fix it. I like went into it way too
Trying to
confident.
fix
So,
it.
yeah, I did not have the fix it skills yet. And so, but I thought I could. And so like I
Yeah.
literally ground it to nothing. Like on the grinder, it was starting to curl over like I was sharpening it, and I was
Oh
like,
geez.
I ruined my first knife. And so but there it was probably the Seiko V1, and there was one that I made. It's actually kind of similar to the Falcon. Um, I made those two around the same time, and that's when I was like, I can do this. Like, I really like these designs. I was carrying them and posting them on my personal Instagram, and people were like, "Where did you get that fixed blade?" Or I like that design. I'm like, so I'm doing something right. Like, I'm getting people's attention. Like, people see what I'm doing. And that was what was cool. I think too is like what really hooked me is like I was making stuff for myself, so there was this pride of like I'm making my own tools. I'm using my own tools, and then to see people like reach out and be like, I like what you're doing, or I like what you did there, or that design, and back then it was just for fun, so like it just fueled the hobby more. It's like, oh, I can make something cooler. You liked that? Watch what else I can make, and I'm gonna go make myself something new. And then, um, yeah, from there I was just like, I don't really have the room to keep making myself knives, but I want to keep doing this.
Yeah.
So that's also where like selling came in because like people are like, oh, I'd buy one or can you make me one? And it's like, yeah, I'll do that because otherwise it's going to go in my drawer that I have no more room for. Like, because I've got my, uh, it's like one of those big jewelry boxes from Harbor Freight, the wooden ones.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
have one
complete.
sitting right over here.
Yeah, I've got that completely filled top to bottom. And then last year I won a giveaway for oh, I can't think of the brand. Somebody will probably say it. Those are real nice.
The
Uh,
Gersh. That's a Gersh one.
the I can't think of what they're called. The Home and Hadfield. The Home
Okay.
and Hadfield ones with the like
Yeah.
the glass tops. I won one of those, and I have that completely filled up also. And so like the grails and the nicer knives are in that one, and then most of the early knives I've made, my grandpa's knives that I inherited, all those are in the jewelry box one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I've
That's
got
awesome. Yeah.
some
Homes and
like
houses.
USA made cases and stuff. I'm like,
That's
those are
awesome.
cool. Like they don't even get made here anymore.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Or a lot of them.
I have my grandfather's stuff as well. Like all that stuff up here. Those are
Beautiful.
his bayonets from when he was in the Korean War. And he was
That's so
stationed
cool.
in the Philippines, and these are like Filipino blades that he brought back. They're called talabongs with
Oh, okay.
wooden. They have these wooden carved sheaths on them, and he has a Japanese bayonet, and he has his American standard bayonet that he had on there too. So
Oh,
I
that's
keep
cool.
them all up here displayed up on the wall back there. But that's all from my grandfather when he was in the war. He came back and he had all that kind of stuff. He had the M1 Garand too, and he flew home with his rifle. That tells you back in the day they didn't care.
Yeah, yeah, they didn't care back then.
They did. He flew back with all of this stuff plus his rifle, and they never cared. But,
Yeah.
yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, I have some stuff here that my first knife, and I have some other stuff that I show off every once in a while. I've kept it, I used it, and then now it's kind of up on the board because it's not something that I use anymore. But
Yeah.
it's a really great process for me. When I made my first one, there was a sense of accomplishment to take
Mhm.
a raw materials and turn it into a usable tool.
Yeah.
That is an awesome thing. And then it goes to other things like people who are leather makers and they're making stuff, leather sheaths or leather things, and people are like sending me really cool stuff. Bluminati made that for me. It's like kind of a leather, it's a sticker
Oh, that's cool.
on leather, and he uh, etched my logo onto the leather.
Oh, that's
Laser,
awesome.
he laser engraved it. That's what he did. So, and people are great. Trouble Bunny in the chat.
Oh, that's
Made
cool.
me my own leather portfolio with my logo in there.
That's
Oh, yeah.
badass. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
So just the tooling on that, she did amazing work in there. So yeah, this community is awesome, and
It is.
I thank you for coming on. This was fun.
Of course. Thank you so much
Learning
for
about
having
what
me.
you're doing. If somebody wants to get a knife, you guys hit them up on Instagram at Wade Knife and Tool
Yep.
on Instagram. Doing some really cool things, man. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming on and doing this. I want to do a giveaway. You can hang out for the giveaway or enter the giveaway or whatever you want to do. That's completely up to you.
If I don't win, though, it's rigged.
Yeah, no. I have a really cool swag pack for you guys, including one of those AriesEDC leather stickers made by Bluminati in there. He made me several of them, and a big sticker pack with all kinds of cool stickers that you guys will enjoy, and a Remet. Remet was nice enough to send me a couple knives for giveaways. So let's check it out. I'll show you guys what the knife is. I've gave one away, and they were kind enough to send me a couple more for a giveaway. So let's check this guy out. I don't know why they have to make these boxes so hard to get into. So I did a review on this knife here on the channel. I just pulled it out of the box, guys. The Remet Canyon. Just a nice, sleek, slim EDC little folder. Really cool. It's like an office carry. It's in D2, DLC coated blade. The blade completely disappears within the handle. So you can put that top pocket in the office and it would completely disappear. People probably think it's a pen, but I'm going to give away that. So really awesome that Remet is doing that. So we're going to do a quick giveaway, and then we're going to call it a stream. And then I got to go check and see if I actually won something with Legion Steel or not. But let's see. Jim Miller, are you still in here? We are going to play the numbers game because that's the best way that I could do this right now. Let me write down a thing, and then I will explain the rules unless Jim Miller is in here and he could. Kathleen says, I did win on Legion Steel. I was there. But do I have to be there in attendance to win, Kathleen? I'm just trying to figure it out.
I feel like Kathleen watches like 15 streams at a time.
I love Kathleen.
I feel like every stream I tune into, she's there no matter whose stream it is.
It's her and Marco. Marco is
Marco too. Marco's everywhere.
Hey, Jim, we're going to do a giveaway. We're going to play the numbers game. I just need somebody to kind of post the rules and a start when I give the range and everything. So I'm writing the range down, and I'm writing the winning number now. We're going to do the numbers game. The numbers game, I like to do it just the closest to the pin wins. But I think I might just change that because I don't want there to be too many ties. So the closest without going over, you must be 18, live in the United States, because I am shipping a knife. So you need to be 18 years or older and have an address that I can send this to within the United States. I have my piece of paper. I'm going to put it right up here somewhere. It's going to stick right there. There we go. And you're going to get the knife and that sticker pack, along with one of these cool things sent in by Bluminati. Really stinking cool. So you must be over 18, U.S. citizen. There you go. Jim Miller posting the rules. Price is Right rules. Closest without going over wins. Closest without going over wins. And the let me know when you're ready, Jim. Let me know when you're ready. You're going to have to help me with this. I'm sorry. You're my only mod in here, I think. The range is, yes, only one enter. One enter per person. If we feel like you've entered multiple times, then we will pick another number or pick again. So the range is, ready, Jim? 200 to 400. The range is from 200 to 400. 200 to 400. One guess only. Closest without going over. And Jim Miller has posted start. So you guys may begin your guessing on that one. Again, please, you have to be 18 years or older and be a U.S. citizen. And we will see who goes. So we'll wait a couple seconds. Wade, that was awesome. Thanks for hitting us with all of that info. I look forward to all the things. It sounds like you're going to be very busy.
Yeah,
all
and
the really cool collab stuff that you're doing.
Yeah, those will be fun, and then hopefully the drops will keep everyone entertained, and hopefully keep some knives on the website for once.
Yeah.
Instead of hitting Instagram and then instantly being gone, I'd like for more people to be able to get them.
Yeah, I started doing that, but I do it because. So I do like 5 or 6 book spots one month, and then the next month I do a drop. That way,
okay. Yeah.
if the book spots run over into the following month, there's leeway in there to get it done. So it's been working out. It's working out, and the drops that I do, like if I drop 5 or 6 on my Etsy store, I usually have those water jetted, so I'm just grabbing the blanks, cleaning them up, and then moving on. So it's not as much work, but
yeah, that's where I would like to eventually get, because right now I do hand cut every single one,
and there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, it just gets a little time consuming, especially
to be able to
you want to do more.
To be able to go to a drawer and grab a blank that's already there, you still have to square off all the edges and maybe drill out the holes a little bit, but then that's minimal work to go straight into grinding bevels.
Right. Do you grind your bevels before heat treatment or after?
I do before.
Really?
Yeah, it's just what I've always done. I haven't had too many issues with it, but
see, I did that in the beginning, and I felt like it ground down too fast for me, and I felt like I was making more mistakes that way. And so I started heat treating it first, and with it taking off less material, I felt like I had more control over the grinds.
I'm paranoid I'm going to ruin a heat treat with getting them too hot.
Yeah,
I
guess that's the benefit of freehand grinding, because my hand's on the blade, so I can feel if it starts to heat up at all.
Yep.
But,
yeah, I totally can see that. But my buddy does it that way too, and he heat treats and then he grinds.
Yeah.
And he does hollow grinds and everything else. So
I also had more issues with warping when I was grinding before heat treatment.
I only experienced lately, I had one model, the Spike, that I've had some issues with warping, but like I just did a group and I didn't have any warping at all. So
nice.
Knock on wood.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
I know that's definitely not my luck.
Yeah.
It felt like I was straightening out
All right,
constantly.
guys, make sure you guys get your votes in. It is 200 to 400 is the range. And I'm going to give you guys about 10 more seconds, and then we'll go see. I'm going to go start looking through numbers now to see if anybody was close. See if anybody was close. I want to say there was. Let's see. I hope. Let's see. 3, 6, 7. Oh, we have somebody who absolutely nailed it.
Oh.
Okay, we have a winner. We have a winner. The number was 389. 389. And you have to be present to win. And as far as I can tell, Alex Kerber nailed it with 389 on the nose.
Congrats,
Alex Kerber, are you still here, Alex? Yeah,
what the heck?
hey, very good, Alex. Hey, Alex, reach out to me. You can email me, AriesEDC@gmail.com, or you can message me on Instagram and hit me up. Take a screenshot of this or whatever you need to do for proof. Just hit me up on Instagram, or again, email me, AriesEDC@gmail.com. You won a Remet Canyon and a really cool sticker swag pack with all your favorite channels in there. So really stinking cool. Alex, congratulations. Awesome, awesome stuff. Excellent. Well, all right, man. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for joining Wade Knife and Tool. I hope you guys learned. That was a fun conversation. Please go check him out on Etsy or Instagram. Instagram, sharing all of his pictures and stuff. He's got a lot of cool stuff coming up. Thank you, my friend, for popping in. And thank everybody here for joining in on this conversation and pushing it along. Thank you so much. Guys, please remember to subscribe, like, leave a comment, or not. The choice is always yours. Later.